Here with reaction is Fox Business host, our friend Larry Kudlow is back on the show. Larry, good to see you, my friend. Oh, this is just something that happens these days. And would you consider adopting an unvetted illegal immigrant family? I think I'd feel better if they were vetted, and we know they don't have radical associations and at least know something about them before they ever came in the country. And I'd prefer that they respect our laws, our borders, our sovereignty. But this is just something that happens. We beat the hell out of cops in Times Square. They get let out, no bail laws. They flip the bird to New York on their way to the sanctuary state of California for free health care. Wow. Are we that dumb a country?
Well, thanks for having me, Sean. You know, President Trump put it very well tonight in his town hall with Laura Ingraham. He called it migrant crime. And all the examples you're given, they're going after cops on the street, going after cops and people in shelters, going after prisons. They're actually worse in the main than our homegrown criminals. That's what Trump said tonight, and I think he makes a great point. Migrant crime. Now, if Joe Biden had stayed at the beach and just let the wall be built and remain in Mexico and catch and deport, we wouldn't have this problem. But Biden had to overturn all of the Trump policies, which were working very well. So now we're stuck with migrant crime, people coming all over the world. I mean, Griff Jenkins was talking to me on the show tonight, Bill Maluja, Asia, China, Kazakhstan, India. I mean, it's crazy. And they're not the best of the best. We're not getting their elites. We're getting spies. We're getting criminals. We're getting terrorists. We're giving them green cards. We're giving them work permits. Another thing Griff Jenkins showed me, they actually have, you'll love this, from the Trump days, they get Remain in Mexico cards. They have them. But you know what happens? As they come over the border, they drop the cards because they don't want the border officials to see them because they want entry into the United States. I mean, it's actually there in spades. It's an amazing story. And one last point. Governor Abbott in Texas is right. You put up barriers, right? Chicken wire, whatever. I would say a wall, but all he did was put up chicken wire, and the numbers have come way down. And so now the crisis has moved kind of from Texas to San Diego, all right, which is where Malujan was reporting from tonight. But the barriers work. Yeah. Wire works. Walls work. What doesn't work is Joe Biden doesn't want to do it, and he's going to probably sign an executive order soon before the State of the Union that is going to make this story even worse. You wait and see.
Republicans, and this goes back to our last segment a little bit, if they would hold strong, Remain in Mexico has to come back. Building the border wall that Trump started, finish the wall. If you get those things done, and it was razor wire that you're talking about at Eagles Pass in Texas with Governor Abbott. And then one other thing. If we're going to help countries out against real evil and injustices, we're going to do that. Why can't it be alone? When Donald Trump talked about that Iraq, they should pay us back in oil. I thought that was a great idea. America cannot afford to be fighting proxy wars. And you know the numbers better than anybody, Larry, especially with $34 trillion in debt. I fear what happens when we have $1 trillion a year in debt payment alone. I mean, before we spend one dime on Social Security, Medicare, defense, that scares me.
Well, the latest Biden baseline on the budget from the CBO, Sean, will be at $48 trillion of publicly held debt, or nearly 120% of GDP. That number, by the way, was 48% of GDP just a few years ago before Biden took office. So, yeah, we have a major problem. I mean, let's come back to New York. Eric Adams, who says, you know, what, stuff happens. I mean, that's the silliest thing I've ever seen, that news conference you played. He's going to give them debit cards, okay, which in the New York Post today, Nicole Jelinas estimated will cost about $2.5 billion in the next couple of years. Debit cards, Sean. It's like, come over. We're going to incentivize you. We're going to give you money so you can exist here, whether you break the laws or not, whether you break the border laws or whether you come here and rob stores, go after cops, go after prisons, go after shelters. It doesn't matter. We're going to help you out. This is nuts. This is insanity. And that's why this has become such a big national
Larry,
political issue. And I will say this. You're going to need a tough guy, Trump tough, to stop this.
Yeah. Larry, you're not showing enough compassion. These incidents of attacking cops and beating them up in Times Square, that's just something that happens these days. You've got to get with it a little bit more. These are different times we're living in.
More insanity. We'll give you a debit card. Sean, thanks for having me. Give you a debit card.